back to another edition of the Just Hoop Show. This is episode number 7. I do apologize. We have had a bunch of technical difficulties. My equipment has been failing me. I bought a new mic, wasted a bunch of money. Doesn't really work. I'm figuring that part out, trying to get myself the best audio quality possible. For now, I decided that I'm going to be doing a bunch of 15-minute videos throughout the week, just at least on the iPhone with these headphones, somewhat, gives good quality. And I thought that we should talk about the top of the food chain in the NBA, being the Washington Wizards in the Eastern Conference and the Golden State Warriors. I wanted to talk about both teams because both teams are teams that I talked about before the season, teams I was impressed with, and I thought that had a very good chance to make some type of noise, but have ended up being much better than I predicted. The Warriors, I kind of felt like they had a really good thing going for them, especially having 2 picks in the first round this year. But Stephen Curry doing what Stephen Curry does, and the Warriors doing what they're doing right now defensively, I think is more impressive than what they're doing offensively, considering they have Stephen Curry as their point guard. But without further ado, let's just kind of get into this. To start off, I want to talk about the Washington Wizards. So before the season, the Wizards acquired a couple of players. I'm going to name them very quickly. Spencer Dinwiddie, Montrezl Harrell, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and these were players and Aaron Holiday as well. These were players to pair up with Bradley Beal and to help keep him in Washington after, of course, the departure and the trading away of Russell Westbrook, in order for Washington to, kind of reset. And they thought that they were putting themselves in a position to win and in a position to keep Bradley Beal, and they were more than correct. I thought that this was a solid core, a solid unit to build around, especially having Bradley Beal, such a talented guard who can create his own shot. He can get, the game going. Once he gets hot, he's almost unstoppable, but now he has a bunch of great, I don't want to say role players, I want to say borderline all-stars that play really great defense. They play their role on offense, and they just do a really good job of fitting into their systems. And they just also, I think, one of the most impressive things about the Washington Wizards is the defense. They're 5th rated in the league. Now, they don't have this abundance of defensive players. Of course, they do now, as we see, but they play more like a team defense. They play very well as a unit together. Wes Unseld has had a very good system implemented in Washington, and he's done a really good job of just keeping them afloat, keeping them, steady. They're currently 10-3. Once again, they're first in the NBA in Eastern Conference, and they just have a new team, a new identity. They seem to be playing together. They seem to be playing as one, as a unit, and they're having great contributions from their pickups. I kind of want to go a little bit into some of their statistics. So to start off, Montrezl Harrell, who had a really, really bad season, and Kyle Kuzma as well. They both had kind of average seasons last year. They didn't really make a huge impact, especially Montrezl Harrell, who really was not used much on the Lakers. For Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond played behind them. Just unlucky situation he was put in. But he's averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, and shooting 63%, which is great. And he's being really like the forefront, the enforcer for the Washington Wizards, just that big man that forces himself into the paint. He, just has his presence, and he puts his imprint on the game defensively and offensively, whether he's grabbing boards, whether he's locking up the other team's best big man, or whether, he's hustling to get an offensive rebound and get a easy putback dunk. Another player, Kyle Kuzma, of course, he's averaging 14 points right now with 9 rebounds per game, but he has had a couple of 20-point games. He's been showing a lot of upside and a lot of growth in his game, especially now having a defined role in Washington. Kyle Kuzma seems to be very comfortable in his position at the moment and very comfortable with the situation at hand. I am very excited to see exactly what he's going to continue to do and how he will continue to grow his game. He's a stretch 4. He's kind of been falling into that role, but can Kyle Kuzma develop into more than just simply a guy who can come on the court and score? Now, granted, he's averaging 9 rebounds per game, so of course he's added to the rebounding. The defense department he's working on. He can still get, he can still do better as a defender, especially for his size. But Kyle Kuzma is on just kind of a trajectory upwards, and throughout the season in Washington, as Wes Unseld, continues to tap this kid's potential and find what he does best, how he can put him in his team and fit him around his teammates, and just kind of find the highest production he possibly can out of Kyle Kuzma. and get that kind of, that flash and that spark that we saw during his summer league reign, where he was just kind of dominating and being a primary scorer. I think that's something that Kyle Kuzma has in him. He's a great scorer, and he is very good at scoring the basketball at a high volume. So I think that's where really the Wizards need to find Kuzma has unlocked that potential in him. Spencer Dinwiddie, he's having a very, very good season, quietly as well, averaging 17 points per game, coming off a torn ACL, by the way. 17 points per game as a starting point guard, 5 rebounds and 6 assists. Dinwiddie has been playing great. He's always had kind of like a slow motion game, great floater. He's always had a consistent game in between the pick and roll, and always been a great facilitator, somebody who can, he's not like an excellent floor general, but he's somebody who can definitely be an NBA point guard, run an NBA offense, facilitate the basketball, get his teammates involved, and get some easy points for his team. I think another interesting stat is their 4th in total rebounds per game. Now, the Washington Wizards, on paper, considering the players that play the most minutes on their team, they are one of the smaller teams in the league, yet they're 4th in rebounding. I don't know exactly what to see or what to expect from the Washington Wizards, other than this is something that they can consistently continue, because the team and the system is built off each player's strengths and how they mold together. And having Bradley Beal added into these great, like I said, borderline all-stars who are now playing at a high level, is just elevating the Washington Wizards to kind of some new heights that even the fan base hasn't seen in the past couple of years, and creating some new buzz for the city and the franchise. But moving on from the Washington Wizards, we have the number 1 team in the Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors, who hold probably my favorite player right now in the league, and my favorite point guard, Stephen Curry. Now, I do want to talk about some of the additions, some of the things that the Warriors did that made them this good. One of the things they did was sign Nick Bjelica, who's been just a great off-the-bench to grab boards, hit a couple threes here and there. He really just plays his role. He does what he has to do, set a bunch of screens for Stephen Curry. They drafted Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, who Moses Moody is more of a scorer. Not that he's a good defender, but not that much. And Kuminga, he's more of a aggressive wing defender. He can really lock you up and then go score the bucket and transition. So I really like those 2 pickups. To consider as well, they're 12-2, they're number 1 in the Western Conference, and they have James Wiseman and Klay Thompson currently injured. Those 2 have not played, so it's going to be very interesting once they come back, just as far as what they can add. James Wiseman, I think he's got a lot to do as far as defensively. He's got to grow a lot. He jumps a lot. He falls for a lot of fakes, just a lot of rookie mistakes he made last year. He can really improve on that, and I hope he's improved on that during the offseason. Offensively, of course, in college he showed some flashes, and in the NBA showed some flashes of being somewhat of a stretch 5, but definitely a lob threat and a big man who's really good at cutting in the paint and finishing down low, as well as Klay Thompson. Of course, we know the two-way, one of the top 3 two-way players, and probably the best NBA player of all time when he's hot. I mean, there's nobody like Klay Thompson when he's on fire. And just his ability to shoot the basketball, him and Stephen Curry, that dynamic of the Splash Bros, it returning to the NBA. I mean, it's just absolute scary hours. I think the Golden State Warriors are legitimately on the verge of creating another dynasty. Now, let me continue and ride on this same dynasty wave by saying Jordan Poole is now averaging 17 points per game. So Jordan Poole has taken a huge leap in his game and his responsibilities and taken it upon himself to improve. Wiggins, of course, one of the more underrated two-way players who plays on both ends of the floor. He's averaging 18 points per game. He's found a fantastic role, a fantastic home with the Golden State Warriors. And one of the things with the Warriors, I said that the Miami Heat were the deepest team defensively. I think wings, forget guards and big men, wing-wise, the Golden State Warriors are an absolute nightmare to defend the perimeter. Jonathan Kuminga, Juan Toscano Anderson, Jordan Poole is an all-right defender. I'm not going to really count Stephen Curry, but he does get a lot of steals and disrupts the passing lane. We have to include Andre Iguodala in there as well. Moses Moody does his job. Klay Thompson will be coming back soon. He's another wing defender, so this team is really stacked to the core when it comes to having defensive players and being able to throw a bunch of players switch onto either your best guard, your best forward, and just once again be a very disruptive team. That's one thing I noticed about the Warriors. They're very disruptive, and then they let Stephen Curry just run wild. He's having an MVP season. 28 points per game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 45% from the field, 40 from the three-point line, 58%, efficient field goal percentage, which has a lot to do with, it translates a lot into your shot selection, the type of shots you're taking. It means you're taking shots that you normally take and you're making the shots that you normally make, which makes Stephen Curry extremely efficient because he scores a lot of points in not that many shots. Because, of course, everybody knows. And if you don't know, Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. They have a lot of shooting to spread the floor. I think where one area the Warriors can make some improvements is probably getting themselves a legitimate center. Draymond Green is a great defender. He's a great facilitator. I just don't think he's a rim protector. I think that's something that the Golden State Warriors would be missing. They do have the second rated offense in the league and the number 1 rated defense, so they're obviously one of the best teams. They're clicking on all types of cylinders. Steve Kerr recently in a post-game interview, I think it was a training, or I'm not sure, but it was in an interview, and he was basically asked about the team, and he said, I have a list of everybody who doubted us. Like, I knew this is where we were going to be because I had the trust in the team, and I know what, me and my coaching staff had believed and saw in the offseason and things of that nature. So that should wrap up the episode. But again, what do you guys think? Tell me some things you think about the Golden State Warriors. Tell me your thoughts about the Washington Wizards. Tell me maybe some topics you might want to hear about in the next episode. I'm going to try my best to just drop a bunch of these, 10 to 15 minute episode kind of clip things, I guess you can call them, on YouTube, on my social medias, just to give you guys content. I do apologize. I'm going to try my best to work around this, not having the best equipment. And I'm going to do what I can to give you guys, the best basketball coverage. So always remember, ladies and gentlemen, just hoops.